Hello friends, welcome to our Selenium tutorials. Today I will explain you what is the locator and how we can find out the different locators in Selenium. Now first of all, what are the locators? Locators are simply an address of a web element in a web page. Now what are the web elements? So if we open the Facebook page, so all these are the web elements like email ID, password, first name, surname, mobile number, new number. So all these are the web elements. So whatever you can look at the page, all these are the web elements. All these are the links, watch, people, pages category. This is a button. So how we can find out the address, means that what is the address of this birthday list, and what is the address of this one. So with the help of locators we can find out these address. So now question arises, how many type of locators are available in Selenium? Let me explain this. We have a different type of locators. We have the name locator, we have ID locator, XPath locator, CSS, class, link, partial link text. So from these locator, XPath and CSS are the most important locator because these are uniquely find out the location of the web element. So locators are basically the identity, like if in a class there are 100 members and if class teacher says that Rahul, so means that from Rahul name it might be possible that so many number of students is available, and it is also possible that in a class only one student is available. So if only one student is available from the Rahul name, then this name locator will work because class teacher can easily identify with the name Rahul. If there is a two students from the Rahul name, then what class teacher has to do? He has to use the another locator, that is surname. So for example, it is Rahul Sharma. So he will say that Rahul Sharma. So it might be possible two Rahul Sharmas are there. Then he has to use the address, roll number, IDs. So some locators are uniquely find out the location of exact element. Similar in case of the web pages, if we want to find out the unique location, then in those cases we can use the XPath and CSS. So these locator can find out the uniquely location of the element. Now let us discuss how we should find out the locators and how we should find out the locator of an element. Right click, go to the inspect, click on inspect. So whenever you will click on the inspect, it will open this page. So whenever you will click on the inspect element, it will open this page, and look at this. By default one line is selected. Right click, go to the copy element, click on copy element. Now let's paste this element in a notepad. Open the notepad and paste over there. Now we can see that input, email ID, class locator is available here. What is this input? Input is basically a tag name, and this is the ID locator. So let me write here from this information what information you can find out. So what is this input? This is basically, this is the tag name, and after this is a class. Okay, what is this class? Class is basically locator, and its value is, what is the value of the class? Let me show you. So from this inverted comma, start picking till the end of the another inverted comma. This is the value of the class. Now what is this name? This is also locator. And what is the value of the name? Again, to find out the value of the name, from this inverted comma to the end of the inverted comma, from this to the end of the inverted comma, this. So whatever written between these, it is the value of the name. Now another is ID. Similarly, ID is an locator. So we can say ID is the locator. And what is the value of the ID? It is again email. If you look at the value of the ID, it is email. So these are the locator. So any one locator we can use, but it should uniquely identify your web element. So let us first use the class locator, and let us identify whether this class can uniquely identify your element or not. Press Ctrl F from your keyboard. When you press Ctrl plus F key, then on the bottom it will show. Look at the bottom of the screen. Let me show you. This is, I have selected. When you press the Ctrl F, this will automatically appear. And this is the link. So whenever you want to spy any element, click on this. Then after click on the any element. So first click on this element. Let me highlight with this different color. Let me highlight with blue color. First click on this blue color highlighted area. Then click on any element. So it will automatically highlight the related locators. So in this way we can find out the locators, and let me show you, let me explain how we can write the XPath. Then on the bottom of your screen it is written that find by string selector or XPath. Backslash means all of the element. When we write the star after this backslash, so it is showing 745. If you look at this 745, let me highlight this. This blue color highlighted box is showing 1 of 745. Means that total 745 elements are there in this web page. And how we can find, look at the red highlighted block, /star. So when we enter the /star, it will give all the elements present in that page. After this, just remove this, and when we write the input, so it will give all the input elements on the web page. So what is our input? So our tag name is input. So from these 42 elements, these are total 42 elements. Look at this number 42, 1 of 42. And when we click on down arrow, it will go to the next. Then it will go to the next. And on the top of the page, if you look at carefully, it will highlight the page successfully. It is for login. Look at this. It will also highlight. So this is for login button. This is for password. Another way is that click on this spy icon, then select any icon, so it will give you the location. It is an image type. When I have selected, this is an image. Look at this image, class image has been selected. This is an input type. All these are the input boxes and input type of web elements. So now our aim is to find out the location of the this email field. Just click on this. I have already copied this. Right click, copy. To find out the XPath, you can directly copy the XPath from here, and now let us paste here. This is the XPath of the email ID field, but in this session I will tell you how we can use a class XPath. So we have this class. Now we have to find out how many classes are there. So go to the web element, input ID is equal to single quote, control V. This is the class. It's not the ID, it is class. So basically two classes are there with the same value. So look at this. We have used the class locator and it is showing 2, not 1 of 1. So until we get 1 of 1 here, we cannot use that locator. So here we cannot use the class locator because it is showing 2 numbers, means that from these locators we are finding the 2 elements. So again, same thing is that if you are from one locator you are finding the same 2 numbers of element, then you cannot use that locator because it is not finding the unique element. So what we can do, we can move to the next locator. So just you can write cannot use this locator because 2 elements are present. So this is the reason 2 elements are present, so class locator we cannot use. So now look at the input name locator. So what we have to write, instead of name, then value of the name is email ID. Let us see if we can use the name locators. Just paste here. Yes, now it is showing 1 of 1. Let me show you where it is written 1 of 1. Look at this red color highlighted box. It is showing 1 of 1 when we enter this line. @name is equal to email ID. So 1 of 1 means that we can successfully use this locator. Let us use this locator now. Go to our script. Now what we have to do, we have to enter the email ID in that field. So here, listen carefully what I want to say, what I want to explain. Give me a moment. Here we have to write like this: driver dot find element. So find element is a function or a method of this WebDriver interface. It is defined in the WebDriver interface or written in and implemented by Chrome driver. So I will explain what is the meaning of the WebDriver interfaces, Chrome driver classes, how one method can be defined in an interface and implement in a class. So as of now, you should remember only one thing, that find element has been defined in WebDriver interface and implemented in Chrome driver class, and it is used to find the element location. So there is a by class, by dot. So what is this by? By is a basically class in which different methods are there. Locator methods are defined. Static methods are defined. All these are the locator methods. So which locator we have to use? As of now, we can use the your name locator. I think we have defined the name locator. Yes. So by dot select this tag name. After this, what it will accept? It will accept the name of that locator. So what is the value of the name locator? We need not to enter this completely because this is extra. So for the name, we should only enter this value here. Select this value, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and enter this. Now, what it will return to you, and it will return the object of the web element. So basically, this is the web element object it will return. Now we have to import this class to use the web element. So it is a reference of the web element E, and with the help of this web element reference we can use these number of methods. So what we have to do, whether we have to click on this element or we have to we can click on this, or we can use the send keys. Send keys is again a method, and that is used to enter some value in the text. Suppose we want to enter our email ID. For example, our email ID is sam@gmail.com. So in this way I can write my email ID, and now it will enter the email ID in that location. Now let us wait for some seconds, and to apply the wait we can use the thread.sleep method. So look at this thread.sleep. What it will accept? It will accept the milliseconds. For 10 seconds we have to enter 10,000. Now we have entered the 10,000 successfully, but again it is showing some exception and error. Why it is showing error? Look at this and read carefully. Unhandled exception by interrupted exception. Basically, whenever we are using this thread.sleep method, so it will always throw an interrupted exception. So you just have to click on add throw exception, and now again it will ask whether you have to handle by interrupted exception class or throwable. So just select one, interrupted exception. So when we will discuss the exception handling in Java, so I will explain each and everything why we are using this interrupted exception class here. But as of now, you should remember only one thing, that whenever you want to use this thread.sleep method, so you have to use the interrupted exception. You have to throw the interrupted exception at main method level. Now after waiting the 10 seconds, we have to close the browser. So again, with the help of close method, we can close our browser. And where is the close method? In this driver object. So we have to close the browser. So it is browser related method. So maximum browser related activities or methods are defined inside this. So how you can check how many methods are there? Just click driver dot. So it will show many methods. All these are the browser related methods. Like if you want to navigate, then we can use navigate method. Notify quit method we can use a switch method. So I will explain each and every method to you. Some of the important methods are like find elements, equals method are important, get current URL. Sometime the URL navigates to another URL, and the current URL is different from the URL that we know, and we have to put the assert statement. In that case we have to use the get current URL method, and there is a get title method. I will explain each and every method in detail. Get window handle, what is the manage function we can use. Basically manage we have to use to maximize the window. So all these browser related methods are defined in this driver class. Okay, now let us run this program. It has opened the browser successfully. Now it will navigate to the Facebook. Now what is our expectation? It should enter the email ID field over there and wait for 10 seconds and then close the browser automatically. So look at this, sam@gmail.com has been entered automatically by this script, Linux script. Now it will wait for the 10 seconds and then it will close the browser successfully. Now our browser has been closed. So in this way we can use the name locators. So if I will write here, and this is the use of name locator. Let us look at if we can use the ID locator. How we can use the ID locator? Similar way, let me comment out this line, e dot send keys. Sorry. So locator we have to use here by dot name. These are the name locator. So let us now use, let us copy this line, comment out this and paste this line again. Now we will use the ID locator, just by dot ID. So whenever we press just I, so this Eclipse is very smart tool, so it will show you all the methods in the by class whenever we put dot. So all these methods are applicable in the by class. So these are the basically locators: ID, class name, CSS selector, linked name, partial linked, tag name, XPath. All these are the basically locators. Let me select it again. All these are the locators. Sorry. Look at this red selected area, red frame I have just drawn. So all these are the locators. Now we have to use the ID locator, just dot, and here it is ID, select this. So it will accept the string. Now go to the here. So ID, can we use ID locators in this element? Yes, ID is same as the name. So put the value of the ID from here. Go to the there. in double quotes. Now this line has been comment out because it was your name locator, and this is your let us run our program. Now look at this. If now let's see if it can enter the email ID successfully with the help of this ID locator. So look at this, we can also use the ID locator for the same field. So it is now clear that for the same field we can use different type of locators. So again, let us look at the possibilities for the different locators. So input is the tag name that I explained, and input is a tag name. Basically it is also a locator. Now tag name is a locator that we can also use, but if you find out the similar type of elements, then we have to use. What is the meaning of similar type of elements? If you find out all the input boxes and how many number of input boxes are present, then we can use a tag name locator. Let me explain this in detail. Look at this, double slash, then input. How many number of elements are present? 1 of 42. Look at the right side. So it is showing 1 of 42. Basically there are 42 type of input boxes are present. When you click on this down arrow, look at this. This is the email ID box. This is the password. This is the input type of login button is also an input because we are providing the input with the help of this. All these are the input type of locators. So something that for the first name it is showing this is for the first name. Click again down, surname. Now if you want to find out how many links are there in this page, now what is the type of the link? So look at any link first of all. So for example, I have selected this forgotten count. Right click there and go to the inspect element, href a tag. So instead of input, if we press here A, then it is showing 56. So there are total number of 56 links are there. Look at this, all the links. All these are links because these are using the anchor tag A. So this anchor tag is always related to your link. So all these are the link. So always remember this A is anchor tag that returns the all of your what we can say, all of your number of links. So tag name is a locator. So I will discuss how we can use this tag name, and some of the tag names are A, and this is used find out the links. So I will also explain in coming lectures how we can find out the different links and how we can count the number of links in a page. So if someone is saying that how many links are present in a specific web page, for example, one question I will asking from someone how many links are present in this Facebook page, then with the help of anchor tag, and we will use a collection framework, we will use a list. So in that case we will use the web elements, and in this way we can find out the number of links in our web page. Hello, now let us discuss another locator, that is your XPath. So XPath I already explained you that how we can use the XPath. Let me open the Facebook page. So if you want to find out the XPath of this passes field, click on the inspect element, right click on this, go to the copy and copy XPath. Now XPath has been successfully copied and let us paste here. So this is the XPath that has been designed. Okay, so now you can copy this XPath, and if you want to use the XPath in your script, let us comment out this. Now how you can use the XPath? Write by.xpath instead of id dot. So this is the XPath. Now paste that XPath as it is in your script. Let us run this script now. Go to the run and select this, select Java application. So this would be running successfully. Wait for a moment. It has opened the browser successfully. Now it will go to the Facebook linked. Yes, Facebook linked. Now it should enter the email ID with the help of XPath locator. So it will enter the email ID. Give me a moment. Oh, sorry, we are writing the password here. So password has been written successfully. So we can see that we have discussed the name locator, how we can use the name locator, how we can use the ID locator. Now let us discuss the linked and partial linked. How we can okay, let me show you how we can use the CSS locator. So same way, let us now open the Firefox browser. So in the Firefox browser, there were a plugin Firebug, but now that plugin has been depreciated. So we are not using that plugin. Give me a moment. Let me show this. How we can find out the XPath in Firefox browser. Same way, similar way. Go to the inspect element. Go to the inspect element. Right click over there. Copy. Go to the XPath. Now you can paste that XPath over there. So same XPath we are finding with the help of Firefox browser, but previously there was a we were able to find out the XPath with the help of Firebug plugin. So now Firefox guys has depreciated that plugin. Now we cannot use Firebug plugin in the Firefox browser. So it is very simple to find out the XPath. In the Firebug plugin, there was a section and this pen and the XPath is directly generated in that section. So if you want to find out the CSS, then copy select the CSS selector. To find out the CSS, we have to select the CSS selector. Suppose we have to write the first name on this page. Select inspect element. This is the first name. Now copy what you want to copy. Inner HTML, outer HTML. Let us click on inner HTML. Let us select the CSS selector directly. So this is the CSS selector. So CSS always starts from the hash sign. So copy this. Now let us check as we are using the Chrome browser, is the same for in Chrome browser or not? Inspect this. copy, go to the this so now right click and go to the copy, select this copy selector option and go to your and paste it. So it is same in Firefox and Chrome browser. So most of the time I would suggest you to find out the CSS selector or XPath with the help of Chrome browser. You will find out accurate path. So whenever you will directly copy and paste this, so it will find out one of one. So always remember that it should uniquely identify the element on the web page. So if it is one of one, then it is unique. So it is always highlight this page. Let us use this CSS selector in our script. Go to the script. Now instead of this XPath, now we have to use the CSS selector. Copy this and comment out this. Paste this and it is by dot. So now we have to use a CSS selector dot. Let us use a CSS selector here. By CSS selector select. Now we have select this CSS selector. Now let us run the program and see what would be the output. Go to the right click, go to the run as, select Java application. So let us wait what would be the output. So it has opened the browser successfully. Now facebook.com has been opened successfully. It should write that email ID to the name field because we have find out the CSS selector for that first name field. So it is our expectation that in first name it will enter that email ID. I will explain why it is entering an email ID. Okay, look at this. It has successfully entered this email ID in the first name field. Let us wait for a moment. Now it is closed. Now I will explain why it is entering the email ID. e.sendKey is email ID. So this is the web element that is written by this find element function, find element method. So always remember this concept. Now let me explain what is the use of the by class. Basically by is a class. If we let me explain by dot. So these are the locators. So in the by class we have different methods like XPath method, by link text method, by name method. So suppose we have one method is a CSS selector. If we write by dot CSS selector and paste that CSS selector here. Now this will return the object of the by class. So we can store this object in a reference variable. So a is the reference variable of by class and now a contains the object. Now what we can do, instead of this line we can replace as a. So it should work because a now contains these things by dot selector. So basically I want to explain that by is a class and it returns the object of the by class. Let me run this program. Run as, select Java application. So it has opened the browser successfully. Now Facebook application has been launched successfully. So it is writing that Gmail ID. So by is a class that returns the object. So this returns the object of the by class and we can store in this a variable, and instead of that statement we can write over there, and this line driver dot find element will return the reference of web element. So we can create a reference of web element, store in a reference variable a e. Now e dot send keys. So we can use many functions on e. If you want to click, if it is returning web element is a button, then we can click over that button. So we have to think whether that element is a checkbox, whether it is a radio button or it is a clickable, then accordingly we have to perform that action. So web element dot. So if you want to look at what all actions we have, a dot. So these all are the possible actions, like clear, click. If this is a button, then we can click on that element. Now find elements. If we want to find that elements and want to locate the location, get size is a function, get text is a function, hash code is enable, is selected. I will explain each and every function when we will move further in this session. So as of now, e dot, as this is the checkbox, e dot send keys. And any name. So if we enter any name, it will print that name in that checkbox location. So now let us use another locator. We have discussed the CSS class locator. Now discuss these two locators, link and partial link text. We have a Facebook application opened. Now let us discuss these two locators, link text locator, partial link text locator. Let me explain. Move to the Eclipse, and first of all we have to use the link text locator. It is a facebook.com. Now this is a link, forgotten account. Inspect this link. Look at what is the link text over there. This is the link text, forgotten account. So let me copy this element. First of all, click on the copy element, then paste here. Now let us analyze this, what is written. So A is the anchor tag, this is the link that we have, and this is the link text. So what is the link text? Basically we have, this is the link text. So with the help of link text locator we can access this element. So let me show you how. So we have to use driver dot find element. Now in this time, by dot linked test, first one you have to use, and this was the link. And what action we can perform on this link? We can click on this link. So whenever we will click on this link, so it will navigate to this page. It will navigate to the find your account page. So dot click method we have to invoke. So we can directly write dot click in a single line. If you write dot click. Now let us run this program. Now it will find out open the Facebook page first of all, then it will find out the forgotten account location, then it will click on that link. So if you look at this, that it has been successfully clicked on the find forgotten account and it has been closed. So our script has been executed successfully. One thing you should remember, that all these lines will not execute because these are comment out. So now we have to discuss the partial linked text. Basically, partial linked text locator is very important locator. Why it is very important locator? Because with the help of this locator we can easily find out the dynamic element from the web page. Partial linked text locator. We can use this for the dynamic web element. To find out the location of dynamic web elements. What are the dynamic web elements? For example, there is an element. For example, today text is forgotten account, and tomorrow text become like this. One, two, three, and after some time text is become so. These type of elements for which the first part is remain constant and another part is keep on changing, so we cannot use a linked text locator for this, and because its tendency is keep on changing, but partial linked text locator we can use easily because it depends on the partially. We can use the partial text. So look at this, some text is common and some is keep on changing. So even we are using this text, if it is uniquely identify the web element, then we can easily use this. Let me show you this, how we can use this. So instead of linked text, we have to use the partial linked text. Take the partial, like only this portion we can taking, not the complete. So look at this carefully. We have selected only this much of text, not the complete text. So this is the complete text. Basically this is the complete text that is present. Let me show you on the page. So if you inspect element, then you can see that only forgotten account is written. So we are using the partial text. But if this is an static type of element, then we can use both linked text locator as well as the partial linked text locator. But for the dynamic elements, it is very useful. Let me show you. Let us run this program. So here we have used only this partial text, not the complete text. So if it will find it uniquely, then it will click on this element. So this locator is very useful because it is finding the elements only basis of the partial text, not the complete text. So very useful for the dynamic finding the dynamic elements. Give me a moment because we have applied the weight of the for some seconds, so it might take some time. Sometime it shows error, so we will analyze the error, what we did wrong. It might be possible that it is not finding with the help of partial linked text. Let me show. I think that there is some error we are getting. So look at this, what error, no such element, unable to locate error. Why it is not finding? Because with the help of partial linked text we are not able to recognize this. So it is not finding on the basis of this much of text, so we have to include some more text, because I was saying it might be possible that it can find with the help of that partial link but cannot find. So let us include 2C also in this, if it will uniquely find out this element. Now let us run the program again. In this time it is possible that it can find the element successfully. So it has opened the page successfully. Now give it some time. Yes, now in this time it has successfully clicked on the forgotten account link. So sometime it happens that we have selected the text wrongly, so we can check again. So what I did, I have included 2C also, extra 2Cs. Now in this time it has finding the element successfully. So it was the total link for the forgotten count. So in this page we have different number of links. How many number of links, how we can find out? Control F, backslash, anchor tag. So there are total number of 56 links. Look at this number. What is the second link? Another link is also a link. Go to the Facebook home. This is also a link. This question mark is also a link. So all the A tag, anchor tag, are related to the links. Let us move to another concept. So we have discussed successfully how we can use the CSS selector, and how we can use the class name, how we can use the link locator, and how we can use the partial link text. So if we talk about the which locator is the better and which locator we should use, which locator is the fastest locator. Now if you think which locator is the fast locator, means that locator. So the name locator, ID locator, class locator, all these locator, linked, partial link text are the direct locators. So some are the direct, because we no need to have the create the locators, so we can directly use this locator like name, ID, name locator, ID locator, which one is another one, and your class locator. So all these are the fastest locator rather than the XPath and CSS. XPath and CSS are the indirect locators. So in the next section or in the next slide, I will explain you how we can use the XPath and how we can design our own XPath. Let me explain this. I can explain some part of the XPath in this session. So we can find out the XPath with the help of application very easily. So suppose, let me open another application. This is the application investment.com. So if we look at the home page of investment.com, let me show you. So I will explain most of the things on investment.com website, and we can select any website. It doesn't matter which websites we are automating. The concept would be same for all the websites. So let me open this website, because in this websites we have a number of the dynamic elements. So as soon as you will so you should have the practice for automating the dynamic website. Now if we find out the XPath of this, we can easily find out with the help of so I am finding out the XPath of search field. So we can click on this, we can select this link, and let us copy the XPath for this. Go to the copy XPath. Now let us analyze the XPath for this. This is the XPath. Now look at this carefully. It is starting from the HTML and there is a single slash. So starting from HTML, then body, then div 5, then headers, then div 1. So these type of XPath known as the absolute XPath. So this type of XPath is known as absolute. That starts from the starting of DOM, means that from HTML tag. So this type of XPath, absolute XPath, starts from the starting of the DOM, meaning that it will start the basic structure of the DOM. So it uses the HTML tag and it uses a single slash. You should also remember 2 points about the absolute XPath. And second point for the absolute XPath is that it uses the single backslash. So it uses a single backslash. The third point about this absolute XPath is that it is not reliable. We cannot rely on such type of XPath. The reason is simple. Today XPath we are using this. Tomorrow it might be possible that developer has changed the DOM structure, because might be possible it is div 5 under div 5. No, tomorrow it might be possible that it is div 6, not the 5. It might be possible that here div has been changed. So it is not reliable, because we cannot say that tomorrow it will work. Suppose tomorrow we have new build and this is not working. So what we will do, we have to update our test cases, update the XPath. So we will prefer the relative XPath. Now let us discuss the relative XPath. So relative XPath starts from the double slash, and we have to create the relative XPath. And let me explain the basic syntax of the relative XPath. Give me a moment. So this is the basic syntax of the relative XPath. Now let me explain this. And first we have to write the attribute name, then what is the value of the attribute, then we have to write, and what is the tag name. Let us discuss with the help of any web element. Okay, we can discuss with the help of this web element. Just copy the element, and paste over there. Now if we take the example of this element, so basically what is the relative XPath that we have. So what is the relative XPath? Then it is the XPath that we have to create, and it does not start from the starting of the root, and from the middle of the DOM we can start to writing the relative XPath. So all these XPath that we would be designing would be the relative XPath, not the absolute XPath, because absolute XPath we cannot use, and because tomorrow build is going to change, and if something is changing in the DOM structure, then your absolute XPath would be failed. There is a 90% chances your absolute XPath would not be working. So we have to design the relative XPath that starts from the middle of the your DOM structure. So let us discuss this. So this is the basic syntax of the relative XPath: tag name, attribute name, and value. So what is the tag name here? Input is the tag name. So it starts from a double slash, then tag name is input. Your bracket starts @ attribute, and what is the attribute over there? So attribute can be class. This is an attribute, and for this thing, okay, here we can use the class as an attribute. So just copy the class value is equal to, in single quote we have to put the value here. Value starts from here, double quote to this is the value that we have to put. Now your bracket close. So we have created one relative XPath successfully. It will start from the double slash, then okay, put this double slash, then tag name, then attribute attribute name. Here the attribute name class we have used. We can use any attribute name, like we can use the ID attribute name attribute name. Let us copy this and check if this uniquely identify the element or not. Press Ctrl F, then Ctrl V. So one of one means it has been find the element uniquely, so we can use this element, this XPath. So let me show if it is successfully find out this search box or not. Let's use this in our let us use this in our script. So we have to change the application name here. Let me show you. So here application name has been changed. So we are using the investing.com website and @class. Let me show you. Let me first skip this. We have given the thread.slip 10 seconds. Wait, we would be waiting. Now by.xpath. Now that this XPath we have created. So this is, it looks like such a big XPath. Don't worry from that part. Sometimes it happens that your XPath is lengthy. So in case of your XPath is lengthy, then we can create a string variable and store that XPath string a is equal to, and we can store this XPath over there. Now instead of using such a big XPath in our script, we can use a. Sorry, is used as it is. So we have not to use as a string a, we have to use the value of the a. That's why I am using a as it is, not in the double quotes. So string a I have stored in a different variable. There's such a big XPath as a string, So now I'm using this string in our XPath function. Then I am performing the click action on this. But wait, can we perform the click action on this? Because this is the XPath of the our search field. So we cannot click on the search field. We have to enter something. Whenever we have to enter something, then we have to use the send key functions. So this click would not be applicable here. We have to use the send key functions. So for example, I have to SDFC Bank, search for this. Now what it will do, let me explain this code once again. So system property will set the Chrome driver path, and Selenium will interact with the Chrome browser with the help of this Chrome driver exe file, with the help of this driver. First line. Now WebDriver, it is the reference of this driver is the reference of WebDriver interface, and basically this all the methods has been implemented in Chrome driver. So this line, as of now, you should remember this line, but there would be many questions from this line in the interview. What is a Chrome driver, and what is this driver, what is this WebDriver? So as of now, you should remember one thing only. WebDriver is an interface and this Chrome driver is a class. So when I will explain the Java session, I will when we will discuss these things all in Java sessions. Now this line will open the browser. These lines are the comment. 15 is a comment. So our compiler will not read these two lines. Control will come to this line. Then this line will open the investing.com website. Thread.sleep will provide the 10 seconds sleep. Then we are creating a string variable a and storing this such a big XPath in a string a. Then with the help of driver reference dot find elements function we are using, inside find element we are giving the XPath with the help of this by class, and we are using the send key functions. So in this example, I am using the send keys with it directly. I am not storing these things in a web element. So as in previous discussion when I was explaining this, we have created the web element like this in this statement, line note 28. So here we are not creating the web element, we are directly performing the click function on this. So let us run this program. It will then sleep for 5 seconds. So this thread.sleep method will take the time in milliseconds. So for 5 seconds we have to write 5000. 30 extra we have to put. Let us comment out this one. Let us execute this program now. Right click, go to the run as, select Java application. So now it will start the execution of this program. Wait for a moment, it will take some time. Then at the end of this execution, it will close the browser. Driver.close function we have to use to close the application. So it has successfully opened this investing.com website. Now it will wait for 10 seconds. Remember, we have given the 10 seconds time. Why I am giving the time? Because sometimes it happens that due to your internet connectivity issue, it takes some time. Some time gap. So we have to fill that time gap, we have to give the wait. So there are many types of implicit wait, explicit wait. I will explain each and every type of wait in coming sessions. As of now I am using thread.sleep method. SDFC, it is writing this. So it has successfully written this SDFC in search field. Now after 5 seconds it will close the browser. So browser has been closed and there is no error. So in this session I have explained XPath, and in the next section I will explain different how we can create the complex XPath, how we can create the dynamic XPath. As of now we have discussed that XPath, absolute XPath, relative XPath we have discussed. In next section I will tell you how we can create the dynamic XPath and what are the different methods, like contain method we have in XPath, and we have the text method. So all we will discuss in the next session. I will explain how we can use this contains function and how we can use this tag name function in next class. So thanks for watching this session. So we will meet in next session.